Hey, what's up guys? It's Cliff with Note Cycles, and today we have an easy head unit swap for you that's gonna fit any 1999 to 2013 Harley-Davidson Touring Motorcycle. Today we've got a 2007 Harley-Davidson Touring Motorcycle in the shop, and you can use this video to install our new single-din Sony DSX-M80 Marine head unit upgrade for your 1999 to 2013 Harley-Davidson Touring Motorcycle. When your Sony DSX-M80 plug-and-play bundle arrives at your door, it's going to be completely assembled, ready to drop in your motorcycle. It's going to be loaded in the dash kit, and all the wiring is going to be done for you with a factory Harley connector that's ready to plug into your bike. So our 1999 to 2013 plug-and-play bundles also have a rear speaker connector that's ready for you to plug in if you want to add tour pack speakers, bag lid speakers, or if you have existing bag lid or tour pack speakers. And to do that, we have another plug and play harness right here, which enables you to connect it to our harness to then go to the rear speaker connector on your Harley-Davidson motorcycle. So why would you want to make this head unit upgrade? Well, it's no secret that Harley's factory head units break down. And this Sony DSX-M80 not only is plug and play for you, but it's also a marine rated head unit, meaning it's ready to tackle the motorcycle environment. The other benefit of this head unit upgrade for your Harley is that the Sony DSX-M80 carries a whopping 100 watts by 4 max power. It's part of Sony's high powered lineup. This head unit can Bluetooth up to 2 phones. It has both a rear facing and a front facing USB. It has extra bass capability and a front facing auxiliary port that you can plug in whatever you desire. These are currently available in the Note Cycles shop at www.notecycles.com. And now let's get started with the installation.
Hey everybody, Brian with Note Cycles. Today I'm going to walk you through the full install of this Sony DSX-M80. So let's not delay this any longer. Let's get started on this awesome upgrade. All right, so starting here on the outside of the front fairing, the first thing we're going to go ahead and do is remove, there's 3 Phillips head screws here that hold onto this chrome trim piece and also attach the windshield. So we'll go ahead and remove those with a Phillips head screwdriver. Gently pull out and we can lift the windshield right out of the way. We're going to go over and set this on a blanket so that nothing happens to it. All right, moving to the left-hand side of the bike, we're going to go ahead and just twist the handlebars, rotate the fairing out. So what we're looking for is there's a screw right here at the top, kind of right behind the lever. And then this customer has these wind blocks on here. So we're going to remove these 3. And then the last one is actually hidden inside. So we'll go ahead and start at the top and just work our way down. And for this, we're going to be using a T25 Torx driver. Set these out of the way. All right, there we go. Now we're going to move to the right-hand side of the bike. We're going to go ahead and turn the handlebars the other way. And again, we're going to repeat the process. This time I'm going to start on the inside here and work my way up, because when we get to this screw here at the top, that's going to be the last one holding the outer fairing on, and we don't want it to drop off and fall and hit the front fender. And the other thing that I've done, I've gone ahead and just placed a microfiber towel on the front fender just to protect it from anything that may fall out of the inner fairing. With one hand, I'm going to support the outer fairing, and with the other, we're going to go ahead and remove this last bolt here. Now that we have all of the bolts released from the outer fairing, we're just going to work it carefully up and out of the way. Last thing we need to do is just disconnect the headlight, and now our outer fairing is free of the motorcycle. Now that we have the back of our radio exposed, first thing we need to do is go ahead and disconnect all of the factory connectors here. So we'll go ahead and just take these off. You have two main harness connectors here. Just use a little pry tool, pull the tab, and these will release. Give them a little wiggle. Disconnect our AM/FM antenna. And then this one has some tabs on the side. We're just going to depress the tabs and pull it out. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 connections, real simple. So there's a lot going on back here. Just try your best to work around it. But what we're aiming for in the next step is there's 2 screws on each side that hold the actual chassis of the radio to the mounting bracket in your fairing. So we're going to remove those next. To remove the 2 screws on each side, we're going to use a 3/16 Allen. If you have one with the ball end on it, it's definitely preferred, but if you just have a regular 3/16, that'll work just fine too. So at the top of the fairing here, you'll notice this support bracket. If you follow this down, in here behind these wiring harnesses, you're going to find a little oval hole. We're going to go ahead and put our 3/16 through there, and then that's going to be able to give you access to those screws. And we're just going to go ahead and remove both of these. And if, like I said, if you have the ball end, that's where these really come in handy, because this one in the back is a little bit off camber. So the ball end makes it real easy to get in and get that one loosened up. All right, there's those 2, and we're going to do 2 more on the other side. All right, now that we have those out, we're going to put it with the other 2. It is important to note that we are going to reuse these when we install the new radio. So make sure you have a hold of those. Now, the time that we've been waiting for. We're getting rid of the factory Harley radio. Just go ahead and grab it by the rear of the chassis. And just wiggle it on out. Gone over the bench, we've grabbed our new Sony DSX-M80. Like Cliff said, it's already going to be in the dash kit and the wires are already going to be attached. So installation of this is going to be just as easy as removing the old one. So one thing we do want to check before we put it in its new home, you'll see that there's a rubber gasket here around the dash kit. Just make sure that's in good shape. It's not twisted or hasn't come off. So we want to make sure that this has a good seal when we put it back in the fairing. So we'll go ahead and orient it. You can see Sony there. Make sure that's right side up. And we're going to just push it right back in. And we just want to give it a good firm push. You'll notice that it will seat all the way up against the inner fairing. And we'll go ahead and grab our 4 screws and go ahead and put those back in as well. My recommendation when we attach the screws back into the radio is to go ahead and just get them lined up. I'm just going to start them, the ones towards the back with my fingers. We want to make sure that we get all 4 lined up before we tighten anything down. So we're just going to go finger tight on that one. For the bolts in the rear, it may be easier to use your 3/16 to help put them back in. Now we have all 4 of those started, and now we're going to go back and make sure that they're tight. But before we do that, again, we just want to give the stereo a push and make sure that it's completely seated all the way towards the inner fairing before we tighten this down. Now that we have our new Sony head unit securely mounted back where it needs to be, we'll go ahead and start making all of the connections. This is important to make sure that we do all the connections before we try to power up the head unit. Here is the Sony harness that came attached to the radio. So all we have to do is find the plug. Here is the factory connector, and we're just going to line it up and give it a firm push until you hear that snap. And then on this motorcycle in particular, we have rear speakers. So you can see the little tag there that we have a rear speaker connection already pre-wired. And what we need to do is get the adapter that's going to go from this 4-pin connector to this 23-pin connector. So if you've selected that option, we're going to include this harness here. And all we have to do is simply connect that. And same thing, factory connector to factory connector, push and snap. Now we have our speakers wired up, and we'll get our AM/FM radio wire, and that is going to go right here on the bottom. It's only going to fit one place, so we're just going to give that a nice firm push, and that is seated. We're going to go ahead and double check to make sure that our 3.5mm connector is in fact pushed all the way in. You'll see it's in the blue port there. So that's going to give us the ability to integrate the hand control module here in a couple of minutes. This customer's also opted for the Sirius tuner, so you can select this at checkout with your bundle. What you'll receive is a new Sirius XM tuner and then also a antenna. The great thing about this is the base is actually magnetic. So on this bike, it works out perfect with this pouch add-on that he has here. We're going to stick the antenna right here, the way it has good clear signal, and then we'll go ahead and mount this. In this case, we're going to stick the actual antenna right there just between these two pouches, and then all we need to do is just place the wire down in the fairing, and then when we put the outer fairing back on, that'll seal up just fine. For the XM tuner, what we've done here is placed a bit of 3M double-sided Velcro. This seems to work really well for holding this tuner on, and then all we're going to do is just place it right there on top just to hold it. And then you'll see that this connection here will only fit one spot on the back of the Sony radio. Go ahead and push it in, and then all we need to do is connect the antenna to the tuner, and you'll see there's one additional port here. Push that in with a little click, and the tuner is now installed. Special note on the Sirius XM tuner, you will need to contact Sirius if you're already an existing Sirius XM subscriber, just to let them know that you have a new tuner or you'd like to add a tuner. The tuner ID is both on the bottom of the tuner module itself, as well as the box that we include in your bundle when it shows up at your door. All right, we're almost ready to power up this new DSX-M80 for the first time. If you look at the back of the wiring harness, you'll see that there's one wire left that does not have a connection. You'll see the little tag here says SWC. That is your handlebar control. We want to start up the radio the first time with this not connected. So at this point, we're going to go ahead and go to the other side of the motorcycle. We're going to put it in an accessory power, and we're going to go ahead and fire this new Sony head unit up for the very first time. All right, let's make sure we have our keys on the motorcycle for this step. And we're going to go ahead and put it in accessory power. And you can see that the head unit has come on. Okay, one more connection to be made and then we'll be ready to put this bike back together. If you look in your parts bag, you will find this little black box. This is the ASWC1. This is your handlebar control module. So the last thing we need to do is make the connection here. You see SWC, and we're just gonna go ahead and plug that connector in. And what we wanna look for while we do this part of the setup is you'll see on this one side, there's like a little door, you see the access logo, and then there's two holes in the module. One of these is the reset button, and the other one is a indicating LED. We want to pay attention to the flashing patterns on this LED, and that's gonna give us an indication that our handlebar control module has been set up correctly, and we'll know that when we can adjust volume and all the functions of your new Sony head unit with the handlebar controls. Okay, let's go ahead and put our bike back into ignition. Okay, so we're gonna see the lights start to flash. And when they blink, we're gonna push and hold on the volume up button on the handlebar control. You'll see it go through a couple of different patterns. And now the light is gone solid. And we can hear that our volume control is going up and down. So our handlebar control module is now correctly initialized. At this point, if you are just installing the new DSX-M80 from Sony's high power line, you are now complete with your installation. The only thing you have left to do is just tidy up all these wires and reinstall your outer fairing and enjoy your new sound system in your motorcycle. We're gonna go ahead and leave this off because in the next video, we're gonna show you how to replace the fairing speakers with direct fit upgraded speakers from Rockford Fosgate, and we're gonna go ahead and do the tour pack speakers as well. So if you wanna see a video on that, go ahead and make sure you check out our next video. You can pick all of these items up in the shop at www.notecycles.com. Until next time, have a blast out there.